Welcome to the Overanalyzers, a weekly podcast where we talk about how to learn, improve, and achieve our ambitious goals. I'm Dan, I'm building an art empire, and Mike is fixing software and also starting a new YouTube channel. It is July 12th. It is hot as hell outside in Florida. How are you, Mike? How's Portland? How's
It's
the weather?
absolutely gorgeous, not to brag, but it's,
Really?
yeah, one of those things where everyone you meet talks about how great the weather is. Just like, oh my God, it's so gorgeous today. Isn't it gorgeous today? It's almost annoying, but everyone's in a good mood. It's fine.
Well, it's horrible here.
Yeah.
So, we did not talk about my oddity show last week. We
Right.
talked about your YouTube stuff. So I suppose it's my turn to talk. I think you should just interview me
Great.
because
The first thought that I have here, and we had every intention of talking about this last week, but I got a little excited about my stuff. I think when we last had this conversation, you were saying, I have 3 months until this oddities market. I'm really stressed about it. There's all this stuff I'm trying to land. I don't think it's going to happen, or I'm really worried about it. And then you found out that you had 1 month, not three. I don't remember if the timeline's exactly right, but it was something like that.
it's pretty close. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think we've really talked about it since you told me that. I mean, you survived. It seems like,
Okay,
well, what happened?
that's okay. That's a great place to start. It was, I mean, just as a reminder, I work full time. So this is all happening outside of that. There was during that period of the 1 month or 1.5 month or 2 months before the show, it was just this huge scramble of so much stuff that I needed to not only get done but figure out how to do. So there was a lot where it wasn't a clear, oh, just do this amount of work. It was solve this problem, and I didn't know how to do it. So in order to keep all the stress under control, I was very diligent about the what are the two or three most important things to do today, and that's it. And
Hmm.
that's why probably why I kept preaching it to you over the last month is because
Hmm.
that was my saving method. It just every day it was just constant. What's the most important? What's the most important? And just going through that. And
By the way, I do that
you know,
every day now. I other than maybe a couple days, I haven't missed it since we talked about it.
so simple,
Mm.
but it just takes care of so much. So yeah, I mean that's how I got through it. It was the yeah, I mean I'm calling people, I'm emailing people, I'm working on actual products, like trying to clean images up so I can get the
Hmm.
products made and fitted to the right size. And then, oh, the thing that helped me a lot that you said was to treat everything with percentages. So you don't bet on something being finished. So if I would get an email from a vendor that's working on my prints or something, I I wouldn't bet on them on the order going through yet. I would send them all my stuff and then I would say, okay, there's probably a 70% chance that this is going to work. So I can't count on it being done. And then they would email me back, and sure enough, it'd be, hey, you sent us the wrong size. You need to
Hmm.
clean it up and send it back. So it's like, oh, okay. So now what do I do? How do I clean this up? How do I make time for this? And then get it back to them in time. And whatever. There's just so many different timelines of all these different products. But I mean, you know, it
I,
it's just a show. But I didn't actually have to compromise that much. It was more a matter of just constant prioritizing that
well, when you had
coming
that
through.
moment of, oh, I have 1 month, not three, did that did you just compress everything as hard as you could? Did it cause you to say, okay, all this stuff doesn't matter. I'm just doing these things. You did really well by all appearances. I'm just kind of curious about that change. It seems ridiculous to go from 3 months to one.
Well, it was ridiculous, but also there wasn't a set. I didn't have a set amount of things I wanted to complete in the 3 months.
Hmm.
I hadn't even figured out what I wanted. So when it got shrank to 1 month, I felt more overwhelmed, but
Hmm.
it was still only in theory. So I can't even say I would have done more if I had the whole 3 months. But yeah, I don't know, honestly.
Yeah.
But I guess what was kind of interesting to me is just I don't know how focused you can get when there's that sense of urgency.
Hmm.
And I mean, it just consistently kept me focused over and over again. And there was a lot of stuff that I just cut out and
Right.
sacrificed. I stopped drawing. I stopped, working on
Yeah.
YouTube video stuff. I stopped doing everything else.
That's what I'm
So
kind of curious about. Is my experience has been sometimes when it gets smashed like that, and you think, oh, I can't do anything else. We have to carve it down to the essentials. I'm going to spend every free second of my time working on this. It can sort of simplify things in a way.
yeah, I mean, I tried to keep up with the gym
Mm,
and eating normal stuff and
great.
going to bed on time. So I tried to keep the health stuff there,
Yeah.
but I mostly cut things out.
Nice. Well,
But
okay, so
all right,
you did it. How did it go?
uh, it went fantastically. It I don't know. I mean, it was it was on my goal list for the year. So that always feels
Hmm.
nice. I can't wait till the end of the year where we review our goals because I am crushing it. I hope I'm not jinxing myself,
Yeah, I
but
feel less excited about
so
that.
this was a fun one to check off.
Yeah.
And yeah, so one of the other things was to complete my little booklet, my zine. So I got that done and got it in the mail literally like a day before the show. And then I also did the show. So I got to check two things off. So that was
Yeah.
fun. But I met about 8 or 10 subscribers from my YouTube channel.
Nice.
I have never met like real world subscribers or
Yeah.
followers or anything that weren't family members or friends. So that was kind of incredible. Just it really was awesome
Did anyone
to
go
just
there
talk to
for
some of these.
you?
Yeah, there was a couple people that were there, or they told me they were there for me, and yeah, it's just I
Wow.
don't know. It was very heartwarming and fun and
Yeah.
just great. I also sold more stuff than I thought I would. Although, I mean, I probably spent 5 times what I made. Like okay, maybe not that much, but
Yeah.
I spent so much money on all of the equipment and
Hmm.
getting everything. Yeah, I don't know, but no, it went very very well. It made me reminisce a little bit on, and I actually pulled up the video today. The video where I think it's called "Time to Do the Scary Thing."
Hmm.
Back in 2022, we committed ourselves to do the scary stuff, and my scary thing was to start this art project,
Hmm.
and it's been about 4 years, I think, right? Yeah, 4 years, and I don't. It's been stressful and challenging and fun and creative and scary and crazy,
Yeah.
but this little show it felt like a new checkpoint. It felt like a new level of, oh, there's actual fans of this thing that I started 4 years ago that I consistently doubt. I doubt my
Hmm.
abilities. I doubt the art or whatever. And then there's people who genuinely really care about it, and that just meant a lot to me. And yeah, that wasn't even a side of this that I didn't think anybody would show up. I didn't
Yeah.
think there'd be anybody.
To me, I think it's way bigger than a checkpoint. It in my mind, it is the complete loop. It closes everything. You started with a concept, you started trying to figure out how to execute on that concept, the world building and what that's going to look like. You decided you needed to reach an audience, so you start the YouTube thing. You committed to an in-person event, and your audience and your art has actually come together in meet space, and real people showed up and they cared about it and they connected with you and they bought art. And I mean, who cares if you didn't break even? It like proves out the
Yeah,
entire system. I think that's a pretty huge deal.
I know. It's amazing. And I don't think I've even allowed myself to think to. I mean, I just earlier today I just recorded some of the video
Hmm.
about the oddities market, so my brain has definitely been on that today. But I don't think I've really been able to just feel it emotionally because
Hmm.
as soon as that was done, it's just right into the next thing
Hmm.
of okay, I'm trying to figure out how do I list stuff online? How do I make this next video? How do
Yeah.
I, it's just
I don't think you
this.
should think about it too much because it that
Yeah,
gets weird in your head, but at least taking it as this giant thumbs up or proof maybe that it works. It's all there and it happened. That's a
yeah.
nice thing to
I
just
just
have in the back of your head.
Yeah, I just know when I was there talking to the people who, fans or whatever,
Hmm.
that it just made me so happy. Like that was the absolute highlight
Hmm.
of the whole thing. And it made me just I don't even like I don't care about anything else about it. But it was
Yeah.
yeah, it was great.
Do you have any observations or learnings? You talked about the think in percentages and try not to assume that something will or won't happen. Is there anything like that that you kind of noticed, or anything you think you failed to do correctly?
Oh, yes. So I have put a lot of thought into booth setup and products and lighting and
Yeah.
and what people are drawn to and all of that stuff. So my my actual booth layout probably wasn't the best. There was a couple things like, whatever, just
Yeah.
stuff that I didn't quite get right. But the overall booth setup was pretty nice. I think it was pretty. Like it
Hmm.
worked. So all of that stuff I felt comfortable with. And I had to learn how to get prints made and products made and all that stuff. But this took me into the other world of money stuff and business stuff and spreadsheets and inventory tracking
Hmm.
and apps that I don't know how to use, like Square and Shopify and all this stuff that I've put off, like math. And so it's my art world started
Hmm.
joining, like the planet started colliding with this other world that I have
Yeah.
forever, throughout my entire life, tried to avoid. And there was many times I just lost all energy and inspiration and everything because it's not a world I understand.
Hmm.
And so when problems needed to be solved that were in that world of like, how are you going to track all this inventory and these spreadsheets and all the money and now it's split. Well, whatever. It got more and more complex and that part of it made me feel more and more overwhelmed. And just I can't my brain just can't calculate how to solve those problems, how much energy it's going to take, how long it's going to take. I can't plan. And so when I started reaching those points as the time got closer and even afterwards and now that I'm trying to get online store stuff figured out and shipping, oh my God, shipping is just ridiculous. And so I don't know, I think I'm pretty depleted on my energy right now.
Hmm.
I mean, the video I recorded earlier today was fun and that felt sort of refreshing. But
That's good.
all this other stuff, there's just been so many points where I just like I'm just done. I just can't. And so that I think that's interesting in that
Hmm.
the reason why it's so overwhelming or so depleting of my energy is just it's just a whole world that I don't recognize yet. So nothing is lighting up in my brain.
Hmm.
There's no pattern recognition. It's just full on I'm I have zero control in this new spreadsheet world. So I I think that's going to be the next phase is that I got to start learning about so much of this stuff and finding ways of making it interesting because my entire life up to this point has been ignoring it because I don't find it interesting. So it's a huge,
Yeah.
huge, massive weak point in my entire,
Hmm.
you know, art building empire. It's like this is the part I'm insecure about. So we'll see.
Yeah. That's the kind of stuff that I personally haven't struggled with too much, but I can easily think of areas that I have that same reaction to of, oh my, I don't, it feels so uncomfortable. Everything feels so unfamiliar. There's never that, oh yeah, that's this thing that I already knew about. But I'm also pretty convinced that the whole narrative of I'm this type of person, I'm that type of
Yeah,
person, I
yeah.
just don't buy it. I don't think you do either. And if you can just get to the point where you kind of grasp the fundamentals, you feel good, and then you start just fitting things together. I have gotten interested might be too strong of a word, but I used to dread doing my taxes more than I can describe. It was utter misery for me, and every year I just hated it so much. But in the recent few years, in part just from the repeated forced exposures and whatnot, there's a few things that start to click. And I think, oh, okay, I actually understand what number I'm calculating here, and I understand where it comes from. And despite myself, I start to have a little bit of fun filling out some forms just because I feel like I get it now. It doesn't, I don't have that feeling of
Mhm.
dread of what does this mean? What does it mean? How do I know if I'm doing the right thing? Just I know you know all of that, but
Well, I I think there's almost nothing. I think one of the most enjoyable things in life is to see something and recognize it.
Mhm.
So you see someone that you know, they care about whatever, and you just recognize them, and your face can light up, and you're just happy. Like, oh, it's them. Hi, how
Yeah,
you doing?
yeah.
Your face just lights up, or your brain. It's like the neurons just like Christmas lights. And in art, there's certain things that your subconscious just recognizes,
Mhm.
and oh, I'm gonna make the character dark on a light background, or I'm gonna do this composition. You just know, you just have that knowingness.
Mhm.
And so subjects that you know a lot about, that happens a lot. And you recognize these complex patterns and your brain just lights up and you love it. And you recognizing that pattern means that you're going to carry out this pattern of actions in order to solve this problem or whatever. Like you recognize these entire structures. And for subjects that you just don't know anything about,
Mhm.
like me and spreadsheets and a bunch of numbers, I don't see anything I recognize. It's like I'm in this alien forest and I'm scared. But once you start to recognize, oh, that's the old tree with alien forest, right? Metaphor. So that's the old tree with the green goop coming out of it. We walked past that before. I know where I'm at. And so your
Yeah.
brain starts lighting up with recognition and you feel like you're home. And then branching out doesn't feel so scary anymore. And so what I need to do, what I think I need to do is just, or what I have done in the past to start, just mapping out my home in new arenas,
Mhm.
is to just ask simple questions. The the vague terms that you've heard a lot but don't really know what they mean,
Mhm.
you just write them down and say, "What is this?" Then
Yeah.
you look it up and then you know it,
Yeah.
and then you've just you've made one little observation and that's your home. And then you map out another point and you just start growing it from there. And once you get to a certain level, it you start to have more confidence in it and more, I don't know. You have your home mapped out, your property, and then I don't know. Yeah, it becomes much more interesting.
Mhm. Yeah, I will say
So,
if
what do you-
there's one thing that I do genuinely really like about this modern era of machine learning and whatever is that you can do that now a lot better than you used to be able to. You can ask a question and get an answer rather than do a broad search and find a bunch of material you have to dig through. And being able to Google whatever, it's all using big models now, but being able to say, I don't understand this, explain this, and then recognize what you don't understand inside of the explanation and say, nope, we need to go into something simpler. Explain this, explain that, and just keep drilling down until you feel satisfied of, okay, I understand the foundational primitives here. I think that the ability to do that now, the ease of doing that now is better than it used to be. And I'm such a huge proponent of that. I think you can do exactly what you're describing in a way that's easier than it ever was. But you have to know to do
Yeah.
that, or you have to want to do that.
Well, yeah. So that's the point I'm at,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that's what I need to start doing, is just mapping things out
Cool.
and searching things. I just haven't.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
any other questions?
Yeah. What's your thought going forward? You kind of proved out the in-person art show model. Does that change anything about what you want to do for the rest of the year, or the way you're thinking about YouTube and doing
I
art and all that?
Well, I don't think, there's a lot of things you can do with conventions, and it's crazy. I mean, when I went there, I only talked to a few other vendors, but one of the vendors was a fan, and she comes over and she's all ecstatic that I'm there. She's talking to me,
Mm-hmm.
and she has apparently been doing this for a long time. She's an artist and is really good, and she also has a tea company. So she does art stuff sometimes, and then has a tea booth sometimes. And so she's very passionate about sharing her knowledge about all of the the different conventions and markets and stuff. She's like, we got to get together and I'll tell you all about this stuff. I'll hook you up with all these different people. And it was like, oh, if I wanted to, I could go fully into this
Yeah.
whole world and just start doing this all the time and everything. But I'm trying to be careful about chasing good opportunities. I'm trying to stay focused
Mm-hmm.
in keeping, just I don't know. That's been a crazy thing with doing your own project, like this whole art project. The amount of opportunities and offers and stuff from other people, you just there's a million different roads you could go down, or different things you could
Mm-hmm.
run to that are wonderful. But it's like, how do I stay focused? How do I keep going? So I guess to answer your question, I'm trying not to sign up for too many, even though I'm kind of excited about it right now.
Yeah.
I signed up for two more. One in October, a really small market, really, really small. So it would be like half the size of what I had before. So one in October, and then MegaCon next year in February. So a small one and then a giant one.
Was
So it would be
MegaCon?
downsizing, or
Yeah. Weren't you not able to get into MegaCon, or am I thinking of something else?
yeah, I was not able to get into it before. So I have very, very little
Oh,
hope
okay,
for
so
getting
you're
into
you're
that.
hoping to get into it, but that's not a given.
Yeah, I
Gotcha.
applied again.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
So basically I want to keep going, but I'm not like really drilling into it or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So next steps though are to get the online stuff going, and that'll probably be really slow. I'm trying to just get the zine up and running, and even that's going to take a little while. And then I'll start getting other products, but I want to be careful about that. I don't get carried away with that, because then I'm spending all my time shipping, you know? So I don't know. I'm trying to
Yeah.
I guess I'm just trying to build these little structures,
Mm-hmm.
or build up these little foundations and different things. And then when I'm ready, I will go all in on all of them. But the time is not quite yet.
All right, so you're kind of still exploring and scouting and
Strategizing, yes.
cool.
But yeah. But okay, so immediate future going forward, just the day-to-day stuff. I'm trying to make this YouTube video on the market.
Right.
And I really got to get back into my whole routine and doing art in the mornings. I've kind of just blown up everything.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't been that bad, but I just got out of the habit of drawing in the morning and instead focusing on weird admin stuff. Like I'll wake up in the morning and then work on packaging. It's like, what the hell's wrong with me? Do the art first. So, I got to get back to that. It's been too long. So
Yeah.
I had an excuse before. I do not now. So
Yeah.
uh, can you just officially yell at me to do that?
I would love to, but I'm kind of struggling with that a little bit. I've been trying to trying to gear up for YouTube stuff and figure all that out, and there's so many things, and it's easy to not do that.
Well, what is that for you? And where are you at? I've talked too much today. So,
For me, the actual software development work that I've been doing for years now is very challenging work. It still is. When I sit down and work on that, that is demanding, it is problem solving, it is having to think creatively and all that stuff. So that to me counts as crunchy work. It's hard. And that's the kind of thing that I need that focused morning session usually to do. As far as the YouTube stuff, that still feels so diverse and there's so many different things that feel important and whatever that I'm still struggling to identify what the really core pieces are. It feels more creative in a sense. It's not as much hard problem solving. So very often I've been trying to script out and build my shot list for this first video. And oftentimes I'll do good thinking and come up with ideas that I like when I'm out for a walk or cruising around or talking into my recorder or something. So that doesn't feel like it fits as well. I don't want to do a 2 hour session of being creative. That doesn't quite feel right. But at the same time, it's easy to gravitate towards the little stuff. The I need to design a new camera mount thing, and I need to figure out how to do this little video editing technique or something. And there's kind of the logistical stuff, like shipping a package and whatever. And that stuff, it still matters, but it's not demanding in the same way. And it's easy to wind up gravitating towards the easier stuff than the real hard thinking stuff. So I'm struggling with that.
okay, well, we need to think about, because I have the same problem with YouTube every single time. That problem will not ever go away with YouTube.
Sure.
There are always new creative things you have to do or want to do. It's want to do for YouTube stuff or for making videos. It's just endless. The amount of, you'll start crafting this little B-roll thing, little handmade stuff to map out a story, whatever. There's just so much to always do. You have to find ways of reeling it in and making it fit into a routine and a structure. And when you get into editing the whole video, at least for me, that is like crack. I mean, I just can't. I am up till 4:30, no matter what I promise or say I'm gonna do. I am editing constantly. I'm rushing home during lunch at work
Yeah.
to just edit for, an hour, and then I'm late coming back to work, and I leave early, and I'm just like obsessively editing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of like doom scroll, but more wholesome, but also
Right.
like crack. So, I mean, it's not good, but it is good. I don't know. So, you need to start thinking about that right now of how does this fit into your structure? How much time can you spend on it? And you should put time limits on it, and you should be able to keep your daily schedules in place, at least for the most part, to a reasonable amount,
Yeah.
because this is going to be part of your long-term thing.
Mhm.
So you can't just, I mean, at the beginning you can do whatever you want and prioritize it a lot, but you should start thinking about how do you reel this stuff in.
Yeah. And it's funny. I have talked to people recently about lifting and strength training, and that's something that I feel very confident in and have strong convictions about. And someone is asking me about programming or whatever, and my typical advice is think about this as something you're going to do until you are dead. And put it on that timeline of what does it look like for the next 60 years, depending on how old you are, whatever. Because that sort of reframes the way you want to think about it. You work out hard for 2 weeks and then crash. Who cares? It doesn't change anything. So
Yep.
I know that for other things, but for this, I'm still kind of in noob mode, I guess, and thinking more short term. So I agree. I'm just
Well,
not sure what exactly it looks like yet.
well, if you want an example of how to not take care of that and go all in and totally crash, about 3 videos in, you can watch my siren video. 'Cause that's what happened by the end of that one. I'm just
Yeah.
destroyed.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. There's something about filmmaking and editing that feels like it's just divine
Hmm.
from some magical world, and I don't know.
Yeah.
You'll just chase it and throw everything else out the window.
I th-
It pairs so well with obsession for some reason.
mhm.
At least for me, it does. It's
Yeah,
just
and I'm no stranger to the obsessive dive in, be consumed, crash and burn cycles. I'm trying to be pretty mindful of that, and you know, my big two things are to make sure it stays fun. Talked about that last week. I increasingly think that's the most important thing, is that it needs to feel fun. And then the other part that helps, I think, counter the, oh, that means I can just do whatever I feel like. Rule number two, I guess, is that the actual production of the the video, the project has to remain moving forward. I'm not putting too much. We have a deadline for 2 months for me, so but I'm not trying to think too hard about what do I have to get done today, what do I have to get done tomorrow. But if I make progress, whether that's writing the script, whether it's filming something that's going to go on screen, doing the actual build, as long as something is getting done and the actual thing is moving along the timeline, then I'm pretty okay with that for now. And I'm trying to remain relatively flexible around that. And so far, it's been good.
well, I'm trying to do the same with my video.
Yeah.
I wanted it out like 2 weeks ago, and then I had to redo so much of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think at this point I just kind of gave up on a deadline, and I'm just sort of I just gotta keep working on it.
Yeah.
But I can only do that if I'm drawing in the morning, and
Cool.
I'm not doing that, so I get back on that.
Cool. Anything else? Any closing thoughts on your oddities market or anything like that?
I guess the closing thoughts would be it's it's kind of the big picture thing that's sticking with me is the if you're thinking about starting a personal project, just do it because this was so fulfilling and rewarding. There there was this person that came up to me and gave me, and I talk about this not in the YouTube video or will, but the a person came up to me and gave me a piece of fan art of of
Yeah.
stuff in my art. They spent a legitimately a long time combing through YouTube videos and
Mhm.
studying my art, and so the scene makes sense. And I don't know, they gave that to me, and I could tell that all this stuff meant a lot to them. And them giving me a piece of fan art meant a lot to me, and it was just like, oh yeah, this is why I do. Like this is like when I'm at work. Okay, when I'm working on art for big businesses or whatever, it's like, oh, this doesn't feel fulfilling. This feels awful, actually. And then something like that happens,
Mhm.
and it's like, oh no, I'm right in knowing what feels fulfilling and what does not, and what is good and what is bad.
Mhm.
It's like this is good. This is like just like this is what everything means. I think it's just I don't know. It it was just rewarding,
That's
and
amazing. I love that.
yeah, and it's like more that I want to say about it, but I don't think I can talk about work stuff now. But anyway, it just meant a lot to me.
Yeah, we get
And
we get it. We get it. I think everyone
yeah.
understands
Okay.
what you're saying. Well, let's leave on that note.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So thanks for everybody for hanging out. Remember, you can talk to us on YouTube, on podcast platforms, in our Discord, and increasingly, please do say I'm not a bot because we can't seem to deal with that. Again, not gonna say see you next week because that's a cursed sentence. So we will see you soon. Let us know what you're up to. Thanks for hanging out.